The crown divided, the power struggle between Camilla and Kate over Prince Harry's return. The carefully curated image of unity within the British royal family has reportedly been shattered by a ferocious internal conflict, pitting the current queen against the future one. According to explosive new reports emerging from the heart of the monarchy, Queen Camilla and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, are currently locked in a poisonous showdown. At the centre of this royal storm is the fiercely debated potential return of the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, a topic that has driven a wedge between the senior royals and threatens to destabilise the fragile peace of the House of Windsor. While the palace often maintains a dignified silence, insiders suggest that the quiet corridors of power are currently echoing with the sounds of a family at war with itself. The narrative emerging is one of deep ideological and emotional division. On one side stands Queen Camilla, supported by Prince William, who advocates for a hardline approach of exclusion and self-preservation. On the other stands Princess Kate, who has reportedly adopted a bold new strategy of reconciliation, viewing the estrangement of the king's second son not as a protective measure, but as a festering wound that weakens the monarchy itself. The Queen's revolt, a hardline stance. For Queen Camilla, the prospect of Prince Harry returning to the royal fold is reportedly nothing short of repulsing. Sources describe her reaction to the idea as being revolted, characterized by an absolute refusal to entertain the notion of forgiveness. Her stance is driven by a combination of personal trauma and institutional protectiveness. Camilla has spent decades painstakingly rehabilitating her public image, transforming from the other woman into the crown queen consort. In her view, inviting Harry back, the very man who branded her a villain in his memoir, Spare, is an act of madness. In Spare, Harry leveled damaging accusations against his stepmother, claiming she traded stories with the press to bolster her own popularity at his expense. For Camilla, these were not merely familial grievances but calculated attacks on her character. Consequently, she lives in fear of a sequel. The insider reports suggest she is terrified that opening the door to Harry, even slightly, would grant him access to intimate family conversations that could eventually serve as ammunition for another tell-all book or interview. Camilla is reportedly fully aligned with her stepson, Prince William, on this matter. The heir to the throne has famously adopted a zero-tolerance policy regarding his brother, viewing the betrayal as unforgivable. Together, Camilla and William represent a faction within the palace that believes the only way to protect the crown is to cut off the limb that threatens the body. They view the exile of the Sussexes not as a punishment to be lifted, but as a necessary quarantine to ensure the safety and dignity of the institution. The rise of the matriarch, Kate's strategic gamble. Standing in stark opposition to this formidable alliance is the Princess of Wales. Despite being a primary target of Harry and Meghan's past criticisms, Kate has reportedly transcended personal grievances to look at the bigger picture. Insiders claim that Kate simply does not care what the current Queen thinks of the matter, a statement that signals a significant shift in the power dynamics of the royal family. Kate's perspective is described as strategic and long-term. With King Charles battling illness and the monarchy looking increasingly brittle, Kate has stepped into a vacuum of authority. Sources insist that Kate considers herself to be the queen now, mentally and emotionally assuming the burden of the matriarchal role even before her husband ascends the throne. She operates under the belief that a fractured family presents a weak image to the public and that the ongoing estrangement is a liability the monarchy cannot afford to carry into the next generation. Kate's attempts to play peacemaker are not born merely of sentimentality, but of a desire to secure the stability of the reign for her husband and eventually her son, Prince George. She reportedly views the feud as a wound that needs stitching, regardless of the personal feelings of the older generation. Following Harry's brief visit to see his father earlier in the year, Kate has ramped up her efforts to facilitate a truce between the king and his younger son, viewing face-to-face reconciliation as the only viable path forward. The poisonous showdown. The conflicting strategies of these two powerful women have reportedly culminated in a dramatic and nasty confrontation within the palace walls. It was not a polite disagreement over tea, but a verbal altercation where grievances were aired without filter. Camilla reportedly accused Kate of being naive and reckless, suggesting that the princess fails to understand the true nature of the threat Harry poses. Going further, Camilla allegedly accused Kate of disloyalty to her own husband, Prince William, by actively working against his wishes to keep Harry at arm's length. To Camilla, Kate's maneuvering is not an act of kindness, but a betrayal of the firm stance the family has taken. She sees Kate's optimism as a liability, fearing that the younger woman's interference could undo the protective barriers they have built around the king. However, Kate remains undeterred. Reports indicate she has been biting her tongue for much of the year regarding Camilla's attitude, but the situation with Harry has acted as an accelerant, making the tension 100 times worse. Kate feels she has earned her stripes through over a decade of flawless public service and is no longer willing to be pushed to the sidelines on matters she deems critical to the family's future. The security hurdle. Adding a layer of complexity to this emotional drama is the practical and legal reality of Harry's situation. While Kate pushes for emotional reconciliation, Harry is fighting a legal battle for physical security. Following his meeting with the king, reports surfaced that the Duke of Sussex wrote directly to the Home Secretary to request a review of his threat level. Harry has long argued that he cannot bring his family, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, to the UK because it is unsafe without official police protection. Having lost his initial court case against the Home Office regarding the removal of his automatic security detail, Harry is now seeking a review to establish a level of certainty for his visits. Kate understands that for any truce to hold, it must be cemented by physical presence. Zoom calls and letters are insufficient for the deep healing required. Harry needs to be in the room. Therefore, the resolution of his security status is the tangible hurdle that must be cleared for Kate's vision of unity to even become a possibility. A generational and philosophical divide. This conflict highlights a profound generational and philosophical divide within the House of Windsor. Camilla represents the old guard's instinct for self-preservation, a belief that the institution must be protected by rigid walls and the exclusion of dissenting voices. It is a defensive strategy, born of years of weathering scandals. Kate, conversely, represents a new era. She relies on soft power and her immense popularity with the public. Her approach is one of engagement and healing, operating on the belief that the monarchy must evolve and project unity to survive in the modern world. She sees the rigid exclusion of Harry as a sign of brittleness rather than strength. The narrative suggests that the traditional hierarchy is being upended. While Camilla holds the title of Queen, Kate holds the public's heart and, increasingly, the strategic initiative. She is willing to risk conflict with her mother-in-law and even tension with her husband because she believes her judgment regarding the family's long-term survival is correct. Conclusion. The poisonous showdown, reported at the palace, is more than just a family squabble, it is a battle for the soul and future direction of the monarchy. As King Charles focuses on his health, the women behind the throne are vying for control over the narrative of his reign. Will the House of Windsor continue on a path of division and defense, as advocated by Queen Camilla, or will it embrace the difficult, risky path of reconciliation championed by the Princess of Wales? Kate is betting her considerable political capital on the idea that forgiveness is a sign of strength. If she succeeds in bringing the prodigal son home, she will be hailed as the savior of the family. If she fails, or if Harry betrays them again as Camilla fears, the rift between the two queens, and the family at large, may become permanent. As the drama unfolds, the world watches to see not just who is right, but who truly holds the power in the modern royal family.